So our first speaker is actually a chiropractor and healer who works in Lake Mary. He actually has been my chiropractor, so I can attest to his incredible skills and his great heart. And he's going to start out the evening. I've actually forgotten the name of your talk. I'm joking. What's it called? Lessons I Tell My Friends. Please welcome Ben Kersenbrock.
I don't know what the point was to actually raise it up. Really, I just want to tell you guys a few stories and some of the lessons that I've learned from these stories that I carry with me on a day-to-day basis. Lesson 1, look to nature. Thomas Edison once said that the doctor of the future will give no medicine, but instead will give his patients instructions on care of the human frame and diet, and in the cause and prevention of disease, and the inventions will lead toward a simple truth: you can't improve nature. This is a new kind of surgical staple. It's meant to mimic a porcupine's quill. The petal tips let you heal faster, it holds better, and it actually causes less tissue damage. Lesson number 2, allow the body to heal itself. About 3 months ago, I gave a chiropractic adjustment to a 4-year-old who was having trouble hearing. He had hearing aids. There was a ton of antibiotics in his system, and he was about to have a second set of tubes put in. After the adjustment, the hearing came back. And I know it sounds crazy, but guys, I promise it happened. Lesson number 3, know when you can make a difference and when you can't. Another time, a guy came into my office and had an army crawl in. He was in so much pain that he was shaking and crying. Kind of like I'm shaking right now. When I got him onto my table and did an exam, it wasn't chiropractic. He was getting worse, so I called the ambulance, and by the time they showed up, he was vomiting in my bathroom. I heard later from his wife that he had a perforated colon, that's a tear in your intestines, and he was leaking into himself. The ER said that he was a day away from dead and so septic they had to open him up, flush him out, sew him up, antibiotics. It was a mess. He was super lucky to live. Lesson number 4, integration is key. For the longest time, people used to think that muscles and bones alone were the primary movers and structures of the body. But we now know that it's this gristly, fibrous cobweb material called fascia that's the true scaffolding. That piece of fascia that you can see goes from the bottom of your foot all the way to the top of your head. And there are 12 of these straps. The straps basically go from back to front, top to bottom, from arm to arm, and along the sides, like sailboat riggings. There's a harmony in the balance that's created between the two tensions, right? The harmony through balancing to create harmony is what Chinese medicine is all about, right? Yin and yang. Upcoming is the Ni Jing. This is the 5,000-year-old encyclopedia of Chinese medicine. The Chinese had balance figured out a long time ago. There are herbs and acupuncture points all through this book. The acupuncture points are aligned into certain patterns that travel through your body. And guess what? There's 12 of them. And they go from arm to arm, top to back, top to bottom, front to back, and along the sides. There's a matching between the fascia and the acupuncture meridians, and they line up with more than 80% accuracy. But frustratingly, the West has been slow to accept Eastern medicine because it's not something that we could measure until 2006. When researchers trained in both East and West got together, used an electron scanning microscope, looked at the needles affecting the body, and could see that the tissues were being mechanically and chemically changed by the acupuncture. It's pretty awesome, isn't it? It's super cool. 5,000 years ago, the researchers think that 5,000 years ago, the Chinese mapped this out and figured out that there's a way to control the body through shape and function by using these needles. And now we have physical evidence of it. It's a balancing, a yin and a yang of Eastern and Western medicine, hopefully. Lesson number 5, look to the past. This is Alexander Fleming. He discovered antibiotics in 1928 when a mold particle floated through his window, landed on a bacteria that he was cultivating in a petri dish called Staph aureus, and killed it. That's the origin story of penicillin. And it was awesome for like 15 years, but then the bugs found a way around it. It's a way to make another drug, and another bug, and another drug, another bug. It was an arms race. And then, in the year 2000, MRSA was born. Methicillin-resistant Staph aureus. These are bugs that are resistant to everything we have. But then in 2012, two friends got together and found a digital copy of Bald's Leech Book. It's a 12th century medieval text that contains remedies for everything from possession by the devil to warts. One of the conditions said red hot eye lumps. And written next to it, handwritten, it said, "Se beste lecodome," the best medicine. So the friends brewed it up, and 2 weeks later it killed 99% of the staph that they introduced it to. They then sent it to these fun researchers in Texas who were studying MRSA. It killed 90% of the MRSA. These guys emailed the original folks back with 3 letters, WTF. What was going on is that the bacteria was so busy fighting against our latest drugs that it had forgotten how to defend itself against a more ancient one. These ancient biotics are going through trials as we speak. It's super cool. You guys should look it up. Lesson number 6. See the patient, not the symptom. Margaret Mead once asked a biomechanist why he thought that the Balinese men that they were studying couldn't hop from left to right? Specifically hopping. They couldn't do it. They could run, they could walk, they could dance, but they couldn't hop. He thought they must be missing some sort of neurological developmental stage, which triggered her into remembering that the Balinese don't let their babies sit down touch the ground for the first 7 months. It's called the rice year. Without it, they miss that little wedge of neurological development that eventually turns into hopping. So as a physician, if the person comes into you and you're only seeing the symptom, you miss the whole point. Bonus. Lesson. Stay current. Remember the fascia that we were talking about earlier? There's a friend of mine in the audience who's a surgeon, and he was telling me that they now try to avoid fascia as best as possible for the patient's best outcome. And that's it. I'm just going to keep talking. It's these 6 lessons or 7 lessons that I take with me that guide me on my journey every day to be the best doctor I can. And others have other stories. And to me, that is the art of medicine. The end.